Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the NCC Limited Q4 FY21 earnings call hosted by Datal Advisors Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. On behalf of DAM Capital, I welcome you all to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of NCC Limited. Today, we have with us from the management side, Mr. R.S. Raju, Associate Director, Mr. Y.D. Murthy, Executive Vice President, Finance, Mr. K. Krishna Rao, Executive Vice President, Finance and Accounts, and Mr. K. Durga Prasad, Joint General Manager, Finance. Without much ado, I will hand over the floor to the management for their opening remarks, which will be followed by Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mohit. I am Y.D. Murthy, Executive Vice President. I will initially make some opening remarks, and after that I will hand over to Mr. R.S. Raju for his
This call is now being recorded.
For the fourth quarter numbers. At the macro level, if you have seen, FY21 was a very tough year for all corporates and also for all economies. Many economies have shrunk in FY21, including Indian economy. Indian economy is expected to shrink by about 7.5 to 8%. The fourth quarter GDP numbers are yet to come in, so we don't know the exact number. But definitely this is a negative growth for the economy as far as FY21 is concerned. Now, NCC, we are a part of the economy, and also we have registered a negative growth as compared to last year, that is FY20. Our negative growth is about 8 to 9%. So we are in line with the GDP growth of the economy, and so that is understandable. As compared to FY20, we have reported a top line of only 7,300 crores. That is point number one. As far as the macro environment is concerned, again we are having a difficulty in terms of COVID-2 already spreading its wings all across, and again lot of difficulties are there, a lot of lockdowns are there, state governments are imposing a lot of restrictions, etc. That is bound to impact the performance of construction companies and also even other companies as far as the first quarter of FY22 is concerned. We are also not very clear how it is going to pan out, though we are having a strong order book of 38,000 crores. So, one point that I want to bring here is that the issue was discussed with our top management, and because of these uncertain times, we are not able to provide any guidance in terms of FY22 turnovers and order book, etc. What we felt is, let the first quarter be over, and once the things start stabilizing, perhaps when we declare the first quarter results, we can provide a guidance for the rest of the current financial year. This is one aspect that I wanted to bring to you upfront. We are sorry we are not able to provide any guidance for FY22, but having an order book of 38,000 crores, I am personally confident that FY22 should be better than FY21. And also there is one difference between FY21 and 22, mainly because in the first quarter of FY21, in the month of April 2020, when a lockdown was imposed by the central government across the country, even the highways were blocked, and so the supply chain was restricted, it was broken, so raw material supply at the project sites was a problem. And also because of the lockdown, the clients have asked us, they asked the construction companies how to stop the work at the project site. And the client is asking, as a contractor, even if I have the raw material, even if I have the manpower, I will not be able to go ahead with the execution of the project. That was April 2020. Whereas in the current situation, that problem is not there. Nobody is asking us to stop the work, though there are restricted availability of manpower at sites, but the work is going on because the highways are open, raw material supply is taking place, and also the supply chain is more or less stable. Even workers' availability is also more or less all right, but for some stray cases where some COVID-19 impact is there at some project sites. So we are confident as far as FY22 is concerned, FY should be far better than last year. And also, I would like to bring to your notice certain measures that the government has taken as a measure of relief to construction companies. For example, last year, Reserve Bank has mandated all the banks in the country to provide COVID-19 loans up to 10% of the fund-based limits of the companies, and that too at MCLR rates. That means without any markup. So we got a very concessional rate of interest, and our company was able to take nearly 150 crores of loans from the Reserve Bank. From our consortium banks, as mandated by Reserve Bank at a concessional rate, and that helped us to maintain our liquidity. But as far as this year is concerned, the Reserve Bank has taken up the issue, but they have given some relief only to the MSME setups, that is corporate, small-scale industries, and loans of below 25 crores per borrower. Some relief they have announced. But as far as corporates are concerned, they have not given any relief in the current year. And the other important aspect is the Finance Ministry has directed all government agencies to see that the performance guarantee can be prorated to the progress of the work at the project site. If the project has completed 50% execution, the performance guarantee can be, the value of the performance guarantee outstanding can come down by 50%. That was a major relief to a number of construction companies, including our company, and particularly we were able to reduce the requirement of performance guarantee by about 690 crores during the last 1 year till March 2021. One more positive measure done by the Finance Ministry is the performance guarantee value. Usually the clients specify performance guarantee at 10%, some clients will specify 5%, but Finance Ministry directed all government agencies to bring down the value of performance guarantee to 3%. That is also a big relief. Likewise, they have dispensed with bid bonds. There is no need to provide a bid bond till December 2021 based on a certification, based on the financial health of the contractor who is bidding the project. He is permitted to bid for the project. That is also a big relief in terms of availability of bank guarantees. One more measure they have done is, mainly because now if you see, banks are also under a lot of stress. They are not able to provide the necessary fund-based and non-fund-based limits to construction companies, and the government is planning a huge infrastructure spending, and a lot of tenders are being floated. The biggest component that is in shortfall at this point in time for all construction companies, including our company, is availability of bank guarantees. So to mitigate this problem, they have requested IREDA, that is Insurance Regulatory Authority, to look into this aspect and to see whether insurance companies can provide surety bonds and guarantees. That is an international practice. They want to bring it to the Indian context also, which means the construction companies have either window of opportunity to procure bid bonds and guarantees. So IREDA has formed a committee, expert committee, to look into the matter, and the expert committee has already given their recommendation, recommending that insurance companies can also participate in providing bonds, surety bonds to contractors. So that also as and when it is implemented, is bound to bring some relief to companies like us. So these are the macro environments that I am talking about. Definitely, the order books are going to improve nicely in FY22. The government is bent upon kickstarting the economy, and the best way to kickstart the economy is to take up as much as construction and infra projects. You must be aware they are talking about the NIP, National Infrastructure Pipeline, about 110 lakh crores to be implemented over a period of 5 years. And so a lot of projects are likely to be awarded to frontline companies like us. And we are also looking at positively on 2-3 aspects. One is the affordable housing projects, which is implemented across all the states. We have done some affordable housing projects in the state of Andhra Pradesh earlier. In other states also we will participate as and when tenders are called for. Likewise, the other project is the Jal Jeevan Mission. That is again a central government project where 50% of the project cost is provided by the central government by way of subsidy, and the balance 50% will be taken up by the state government. And in this Jal Jeevan Mission, all the state governments are looking at providing potable drinking water to all the villages and all the towns, and also the last mile connectivity, that is to every household in every village. That is a big project. Earlier, this was done in the state of Telangana by way of Mission Bhagiratha. We have got some orders, nearly 4,000 crores of orders, and we were able to implement them successfully. And recently, we bagged the orders of about 6,200 crores in the state of Uttar Pradesh under this Mission Jal Jeevan. So these are two verticals where we have got very good expertise in implementation, and going forward, as and when orders are, as tenders are called for, we will definitely be able to participate and see that we get our share of the orders. Likewise, road sector is also doing well. We have got the expressways. We are doing the Nagpur-Mumbai Expressway. It's a big order of 2,850 crores, where the client has achieved a financial closure and payment cycle is quite robust, and execution is also going nicely despite COVID-19. And there is a bonus clause. We are targeting that bonus clause also. So likewise, going forward, enough orders and enough business is going to be available for companies like us, and we are fully geared to get into a higher orbit of growth as we go forward. So these are my opening remarks. I request my colleague Mr. R.S. Raju to talk about the company's performance in the fourth quarter and also the year as a whole. And later on, we can take up the question and answer session. Thank you. Mr. R.S. Raju.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidimurthy. Good evening to all of you. I am R.S. Raju, Associate Director, Finance and Accounts. Just I will simply touch at some of the operational level areas of the numbers for the current quarter as well as for the year. So first I start from the order book. So already my colleague explained about various orders secured by the company at different places, out of which what are the important orders, how they are going on. As far as numbers are concerned, we know that we have an opening order book of 26,570 crores at the beginning of the year. And in the current year, the company secured 18,943 crores. So we can say that this 1920, though it is a pandemic affected year, still it is a good year for the company for the good amount of orders secured by the company. As a result, the company now has 30,911 crores as of this 31st March 21, which gives a good stand or good foothold for the year 21-22. Already he has explained that for year 21-22, because of the strong order book, we are confident to have some good growth over the previous year numbers. So as far as the turnover is concerned, in the fourth quarter, the company reported on a standalone basis about 2,639 crores against 2,206 crores, resulting a 20% growth. Similarly, if you compare with the immediate previous quarter, it is 2,638 crores with 1,943 crores. There is a 36% growth compared with the immediate previous quarter, which shows that there is a growth in the turnover from quarter 2 to quarter 3, quarter 3 to quarter 4. So similarly, since the company secured good orders, the growth the company is expecting in the quarters of the current year of 21-22. So if you come to the 12-month period of the current year, the turnover reported is 7,371 crores against 8,370 crores, a decline of 12%. And year on year, there is a decline, but quarter on quarter, there is an increase in the turnover. So when you come to the consolidated financials, a similar number reported about 2,817 crores against 2,334 crores, a 21% growth in the fourth quarter. For the 12-month period, it is reported 7,949 crores against 8,901 crores, a decline of 11%. If you compare immediate previous quarter, the similar growth of 32% is there. And the company has reported an other income of 115 crores as against 151 crores of the previous year. If you come to the margins, since it's a COVID-19 year, so all of you know that there is a tremendous pressure on the work front because of resources constraint and particularly the workman constraint. As a result, the projects, first of all, the top line is affected and the productivity is affected. As a result, the gross profit margins also got affected here. So the gross profit margin reported for the fourth quarter is 16.17% versus 20.16%. And gross profit for the 12-month period reported is 19.06% versus 20.98%, almost a 2% dip in the gross profit margin. The reasons for the dip in the gross profit margin for the year as a whole and for the quarter generally are due to the COVID, approximately 0.75% GPM level affected. And due to steep increase in the inputs like steel, aluminum, petroleum, other products, particularly in the fourth quarter, third quarter, about 0.5% effect is there on the gross profit margin. And due to some AP projects, you know that in AP projects we have certain projects and the capital city projects are not in good movement. As a result, on re-estimation of the value of the work done, the unbilled revenue, all these things, we have again re-verified based on the dialogue deliberations going on with the department. And as a result, certain impact is also there on the margins. So as a result, all these these things, and overall margin in almost in all these divisions got affected except roads and some mining division. EBITDA margin also got affected, but not that much. The EBITDA margin for the fourth quarter is 11.07% versus 12.86%. And EBITDA margin for the 12-month period is 11.78% versus 12.53%, a decline by 0.77%. The reasons, whatever I explained for Gautam, the same reasons, some reasons participated here, but there is an improvement in other expenses because of some control measures taken by the management. And considering the business concern, particularly this COVID-19 pandemic. The net profit margins for the Q4 reported is 4.4% versus 5% of the last year. Similarly, if you see the quarter on quarter, there is an increase in the net profit margin from 3.6% to 4.4%. For the 12-month period, the net profit reported is 3.54% against to 4.56%, almost 1% to decline in the net profit level. So all this decline, all the reasons because of purely the COVID-19 impact, which resulted impact on the top line, which further impacted onto the margins. The EPS for the fourth quarter is 1.89 and for the 12 months period is 4.28. As far as other expenses are concerned, like salary cost, interest cost, and administrative cost, depreciation cost, there is a significant reduction happened, and the control measures were taken by the management, which yielded the result. As a result, company able to manage the margins to that extent in the pandemic period. The interest cost reported for the fourth quarter is 117.7 crores as against 119.51 crores for the corresponding quarter. And the salary cost, there is a significant reduction in the salary cost for the year as a whole. If you take the salary cost come down to 349 crores from 435 crores. About 85 crores decline happened on a year basis. Similarly, administrative cost has come down from 258 crores to 179 crores. And interest cost has come down from 518 crores to 458 crores. It also significantly declined by about 60 crores. And depreciation also a little decline is happened. So all these things resulted into a PBT of 338 crores in terms of percentage 4.59. And after making provision, the net profit reported for the year as a whole is 261 crores. So in the current year, now the company opted to change into the new income tax rate. The new income tax rate is 25.17 effective rate for the company. Earlier it is almost 35%. Now the company, considering the various deductions and MAT credit and deferred tax asset, all these things, now opted, seeing the benefits of changing into the new rate. Accordingly, in the fourth quarter, changes into the new rate. There is no much significant impact on the profit and loss account. For the fourth quarter, there is a benefit of 6 crores. For the year as a whole, there is a negative impact of some 5 crores. So very marginal impacts are there by changing into the new income tax rate. So for the year as a whole, the interest rate, because of the COVID-19 and also because of the rigorous steps taken by our finance department for the reduction from the various banks, so there is a significant reduction happened in the rate of interest, and also there is a reduction which happened in the amount of debt in the company, which resulted ultimately a reduction in the average cost of the capital from 9.84% to 9.22%, almost a 0.6% decline is seen in this year. As far as group companies are concerned, the Q4, all the companies put together reported a turnover of 78 crores and a profit of 6 crores. For the 12-month period, all the companies reported 243 crores, a profit of 15.50 crores. Generally, the group companies, some companies though reported insignificant profits, but some companies used to report the losses. As a result, all the group companies together up to last year, we have seen the losses, negative figures. But gradually last year also some improvement is happened in reduction of the losses. But current year almost all come to the plus side. So profit side it has come. Going forward, the group companies also report the profit. And as a result, in a consolidated level, the whatever profit reported by the standalone company will not be impacted by the losses of the group companies report. Further value addition we expect to add from the group companies. If you come to the debt position, for the current year, there is a reduction in the debt at standalone about 120 crores. As a result, the net debt stands in the books of accounts as of 31st March 21 is rupees 1,789 crores. For the consolidated level also, there is a significant reduction happening in the debt year on year. Now the consolidated debt stands at 2,181 crores. There is no, in some companies, some debt has come down, and in one company debt is increased, that is Urban company. So overall, a 120 crores decline is happened at the consolidated all companies together. About various numbers reflect in the balance sheet, particularly the working capital and the receivables, trade receivables. So far as collections are concerned, though it is a pandemic, and the collections are happened more than what we expected. The collections are not that much badly affected because of COVID-19. Some impact is there, but not that much significant impact. And the collections are good and more than what we expected. As a result, the debt is not increased, the debt has come down, and the liquidity of the company is good, and no, the operations are not affected because of any liquidity problem, any of the throughout the year. Mobilization advance in the company, there is some increase was happening in the mobilization advance from the top of the previous year because the company secured good amount of orders. In the current year also, the company expects a significant amounts towards mobilization advance. As a result, the company is not expecting any liquidity problems, and the debt also we are not expecting to increase. Though volume increases in the current year, the debt we are not expecting to increase. As a result, some margin levels also improvement will happen for the company. So these are the some of the highlights of the company, and if any balance information, if any through questions, we will provide to you.
Yeah, now we can take up the question and answer session. We request the participants to ask their questions, and I request no participant should ask more than 2 questions, and the maximum number of questions that we'll take up will be about 20 because of lack of time. Please go ahead and ask your questions. Our colleagues, Mr. Krishna Rao and Mr. Durga Prasad, will take up the questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Varun Gupta from Augmenta Research. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Congratulations on the good set of numbers. I have 2 questions. In terms of execution in the months of April and May, are you able to keep up to your expectations? And if it's possible, could you quantify it? And the second question is, I wanted to know on the current order book, like what percentage of the current order book has fixed contracts, and what percentage includes a price escalation clause in case of movement in commodity prices?
I will answer. First one is about April and May. April, May, at this moment, to quantification we can't say, but in terms of percentage, yes, there is a 10% or below that one impact over our plan turnover is there. So April, some good amount of work done, but May some impact is there. Some projects are going at 100%, some projects at 90%, some projects are 80%, like that are there. So that is the way. But the kind of work effect is not as affected in the previous year. So that is that one. As far as escalation is concerned, we have roughly about 65 to 70% of projects covered by the escalation. Anything balance is there to your questions? Hello.
Mr. Gupta, your question is
We'll
answered.
take up the next question.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, I understand that we refrain from giving any guidance, but just trying to understand in terms of the April-May, overall, what kind of a workforce is on an average is available, and in terms of how much impact it is there on the revenue, and at the same time the increase in the steel and the cement prices, do we see a decline in the EBITDA margin in the first quarter? And if it is so broadly, because last time we were talking about 10,000 plus kind of a revenue should be there. So some idea in terms of the guidance, both on the top line and margin, would help, sir.
Guidance now we are working out at this moment, considering the present level. It is very difficult to assess and tell the number. As a result, the management reserves this process, and after carrying out the detailed estimations, we come out with the guidance for the year as a whole once the COVID-19 situation come to the one level. So as far as operations are concerned, you can guess that we have the good order book. That number one. Number two is you've seen that how the company grown quarter on quarter in the last 3 quarters. The last quarter of the year reported 2,600 crores, a 30% growth over in the previous quarter. So that is the kind of things going on at the projects. So as a result, certainly though not 2,600, at least 2,000, 2,100, 2,100 like that much level of things would be there like that we are expecting. But we can't precisely tell what the number. So that is the level one can assess also.
Okay. So in terms of the margin also, previously we were talking about 12% EBITDA margin should be there. So let's say this quarter.
For the normal, if you take the normal condition, as the EBITDA margins around 11.5% would be there in the normal conditions. But what is the kind of impact the COVID-19 and we have to see further. If it won't impact significant, then the level of margins would be there.
Okay. So lastly, in terms of the broadly, in terms of the some numbers, how much is mobilization advance, retention money, and the group exposure companies number, and then also the capex number, if bare minimum capex that we are planning to do in this FY22, as we are not giving a guidance.
Capex around 200 crores we are planning capex for the kind of orders what we have. And then mobilization advance, we have about 400 crores roughly is there as on date. And we expect further increase on the mobilization advance.
Okay. So retention money and exposure to group companies.
The retention money, in fact, has come down. The retention money has come down from the previous year level to this year, about 2,100 crores now. Earlier, 2,300 crores is there. 200 crores has come down in the retention money because of the collections from the old projects where we completed. Number one. And other one is what you are asking?
Exposure to group companies in loans and investment.
Okay. The loans and investment, if you see the loans to the group companies, there is a significant decline happened in the loans to the group companies. About 280 crores or so decline was happened. And as for out of which Menzies Urban is the major one, and other companies are some small companies are there 20 crores and another company is there 5 crores like that. But there is a overall 280 crores decline happened in the loans. As far as investments are concerned, we have converted one loan of 120 crores of NCC Urban into the investment. To that extent, 120 crores increase happened in the investment and the same decline happened in the loans. And apart from that one, in the investments, there is a decline of about 10 crores is happened. So net 110 crores increase is happened in the investments. And a decline of 280 crores happened in the loans. So overall, if you combine both the investments and the loans, there is a decline of 170 crores in the group exposure.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, would request you to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandpal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi sir, congratulations on a decent performance. So my first question is on the real estate monetization. So last quarter we had final stages of closing some large transactions on the real estate side. So you can highlight what is the status now there. That's my first question.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Kandpal. So there's a disturbance coming from your line. Request you to mute your line while the management answers your question.
Yeah, sure.
What is the question? Can you please repeat?
Okay, so last quarter we were planning to divest some large land parcels and realize some 400 crores from that. So any update on the transactions now since the COVID has hit us? So if you can update us on the status of those land deals.
That is under real estate. So that is NCC Vizag Urban. NCC Vizag Urban, that is the prospective buyer already approached in terms the discussions are over, draft agreement were also prepared, and some of the permissions which are required to take from the government, some permissions are taken, and final approval is pending with the government. The moment the final approval comes, the rest of the process, entering into the agreement, signing of the agreement, payment of the advance, all these things take place. And because of COVID-19, both at government level and other level also, this transaction also got impacted. And we expect this transaction takes place in the coming months.
So second quarter, most likely in the second quarter, or before September, this should happen?
Yes. We'll have signing of the agreement will happen. Some part of the amount will come, if at least come to the normal in the situation.
Okay. So the second question was on if you can help us reconcile the AP receivable. So from the start of the year, so what was total outstanding net exposure and what is the outstanding as of now? So if you can
AP
break it up into AP net exposure, and we can break it up into standard exposure and the one where the project is stuck up and cancelled. So if you can bifurcate it also into 2 parts.
As you asked, we bifurcate into 2 parts. One is running projects.
Yeah.
Another one is halt projects in the capital city. In the capital city, we have 5 to 6 projects are there. So in the capital city, the amount held up, the total is about 181 crores and the retention money is 73 crores, about 255 crores. 255 crores is held up in the capital city projects. And in the running projects, we have about 210 crores.
Okay. That's the total 210 crores.
210 crores is the retention money, and the total net receivables are 391 plus 210. About total, all put together 391 is the total, and 181 is capital city, total 573 crores, excluding the retention money. And as per working capital exposure, 572.98 receivables and unbilled revenue.
Okay.
That is excluding retention money again.
Okay.
So the working capital, as far as working capital exposure is concerned, 714. Earlier, at the beginning of the year, it is 847 crores, has come down to now 714 crores.
Okay.
In the current year, about 133 crores collections were happening.
Okay. So as of now, the total exposure is 714 crores, you are saying, net exposure.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr.
Net
Kanpal.
exposure.
Sir, I would request
But
you to join the
714
queue.
out of 714, 593 relates to the running projects. So only about 223 only this capital city projects. Running project we have to leave out that. In our running projects work is going on, the payments will come. Month on month the payments we are getting. This 223 crores where the project halted, and this requires the government decision, the new government decision about to de-scoping the projects or continuing the project, some of the projects like that. The discussions are going on, and the department asking us to carry, but we ask them at least release some payment. If you release some payment, then only we start like this. Where the discussions are going on this capital city projects.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Shah from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, the first question is on the key projects that will drive the execution in FY22. So in FY21, we know that Mumbai-Nagpur was amongst the biggest project driving the execution. So the top 3-4 projects that you think will drive 22 execution, and what is the status there, sir? Especially AIIMS, NBCC, Karwar, the water projects in UP.
Yes. So the top 3-4 projects, if you take, one is the road project still is there in the top significant turnover to complete in the Maharashtra, the Nagpur to Mumbai road. The second one is Karwar. That is a big project, and one more big project also received in the same premises. So from that project, in the last year, most of the groundworks are done, and the work has come and has reached above the ground level. The work is going. The work is now going well. From that also, we expect good turnover. And similarly, 3 to 4 these AIIMS projects are there. AIIMS Guwahati, AIIMS Bilaspur. And particularly the big project we received AIIMS from Jammu Kashmir area. That is also another big project. So another big project, 833 coal mining project, what we received in Nagpur, that is going also without any much impact of the COVID-19. As on this moment, I can say that there is no any significant except 5 to 6%. So like that, some 3-4 projects, but the projects are going on. Any effect is there, some insignificant effect is there at this moment, not a major impact.
So, sir, outside of AP, are there any slow-moving projects in our order book right now?
Outside AP, slow-moving. No, at this moment. But big projects, no big projects in a halt level. Only one project is there. We have removed that one, that Mumbai MSRDC work. So Mumbai one project we received 800 crores value. That is not there in the order book now. And the Naurajinagar project, earlier it has started. Now it is going in good progress. Naurajinagar, this World Trade Center.
Right.
Delhi.
And sure. Just last one. You said about 60-70% of the 65-70% of the projects are covered by escalation. What is the remaining around 30%? Which segment of the order book would that be, where you don't have escalation?
Generally, these where the lifespan of the project is less than 1.5 years, the escalation would not be there. So wherever small projects, 150, 200, 300, a lifespan of less than 2 years, there the escalation won't be there.
Okay. So this is irrespective of the segment.
Yes, irrespective of the segment.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Meet Vora from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for the opportunity. So my question was towards the EBITDA margin. So for this quarter, we have seen that EBITDA margin has come down YoY as well as QoQ. And on the expenses side, the reason being, as I understand, is firstly due to the contracting expenses, and secondly due to the construction expenses. So how do we look at it going forward, as in terms of the subcontracting expenses? Why they increased? And I believe that construction expenses would have been increased due to inflationary pressure. So how are we looking at it going forward?
Now, the decline in the EBITDA margin basically on it due to COVID-19 impact. You know that how the first quarter, second quarter impacted heavily because of COVID-19. So that impact has fallen into the down the level, the margins. So here the expenses are concerned, the salaries, administrative expenses are concerned under control. And once the volume pick it up, that the EBITDA margin rise from the present fourth quarter level, possibilities are there to go up. So we have the good order book and we have the good resources, we have the good team. As a result, so the EBITDA margins is not a big this one at this moment, based on the way the company is structured, the way the company doing the works at different places, particularly the big projects. So going forward, if the COVID-19 comes, then there won't be further reduction in the EBITDA margins. There will be possibilities for upward side.
Yeah, hi, thank you, sir. So I just wanted to clarify one thing regarding subcontracting, the subcontracting work expense which is there. So it has actually increased 54% YOY.
The subcontract expenses, so it is a mix of the projects. Where you see in the when subcontract expenses increase means the material cost come down. So other machinery cost will come down. It is a mix of the total direct cost. So it is a mix, we can't compare quarter on quarter, month on month, even project by project. What kind of mix is happening when subcontract projects are more in a particular quarter or so, the subcontract expenses are more. Like that would be there. So we can't precisely tell how the next quarter subcontract. But as a whole, the gross profit margin, which represents your direct cost. Again, direct cost represents your material cost, subcontract cost, labor cost, transport cost, machinery cost. So these elements depends upon the what segment. If you take the water division, the nature of expenses are different. If you take the building division, nature of expenses are different. If you take the mining project, the nature of expenses are different. So like that, expenses are different. But all put together, you have to compare.
Okay. And just one more question that I had. What happened about the Mumbai Metro order where we L1? So have we recognized it?
Mumbai Metro?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Please repeat me the order.
What happened to the Mumbai Metro order where we were L1? Have we recognized it?
Still they're not given that Mr. Krishna Rao, Mr. Vaidimurthy, Muthigaru. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you give some details? Which order are you talking about in Mumbai?
It is not pending.
So can you identify that project?
Okay.
Yeah. So difficult for us to comment on.
My question was regarding overall, whatever projects that are there in Mumbai Metro L1, which were L1.
Several projects are there in Metro in Mumbai. Okay, just let me see.
We'll come back to you on this, but shall we go to the next question, please?
Sure. Thank you.
No, there is no pending. There is no L1 orders pending. No.
Okay, thank
Sure. Thank you so much.
The next question is from the line of
Hello.
Yes,
what exactly you are asking? This is a Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation Vashi flyover. This is a flyover work. This is we became L1, waiting for the letter of acceptance, letter of intent, LOI.
Okay,
now proceed.
Left the queue, sir. We'll move on to the next question. The next question is from the line of Vibhor Singhal from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So just two questions from my side. So what is the gross standalone debt number at the end of this year, and what are we expecting it to be by the end of FY22?
Krishnaram answer chestaram. Cheyamantaru. Krishnaram. Hello, please repeat me your question. One is debt.
What is the gross standalone debt number, and what do we expect it to be by the end of this year? I mean, do we expect it to increase or decrease, or remain stable maybe?
We expect to come down the debt of the 1,789 crores at this moment we have.
Mm-hmm.
That we expect to come down by another 200 crores. But it depends upon several things. So, but based on our internal assessment, there would be a decline in the debt.
And so that would be driven by mainly if we are able to monetize that NCC Urban Vizag and maybe some more payments from AP, right?
Yes, depending upon the kind of monetization group companies amounts inflow happen. Like Vizag Urban is there. If it happens, that it help us to reduce my debt. Tax also will come down. Similarly, NCC Urban also is planning to give 100 crores. If their plans succeed, then these things will happen. So, but in general, based on the plan, there will be a decline in the debt from the current level to the end of the current year.
Sure, that's really helpful. So my second question is on the UP projects of the Jal Jeevan Mission that we have got. If you can just give some color, sir, what have we started work on them, and how is the work progressing because of COVID situation? What is the duration of the projects, etc.?
UP projects, you are asking?
Yes, sir. Jal Jeevan Mission, yes, sir. UP Jal Jeevan Mission projects.
Okay. UP projects at this moment, this survey is going on, and some of the project survey is completed. And for majority project, the draft feasibility report are under preparation. Once the feasibility report estimations and other things are over, then only they give the approval to start the work. So those paperwork is going on at this moment.
So, sir, when can we expect to start execution on these projects?
But in another 2-3 months, the starting to start the groundwork will be happen. It is gradually. It is a number of projects, number of DPRs will be there. Gradually it goes.
Right.
So the physical work we expect to start in another 2-3 months time. And again, we have to see how the COVID-19 is impacting, at what level, how the things. Some precisely.
Sure. Thank you so much for taking my questions, and wish you all.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankita Shah from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, could you throw some light on the increase in...
Ankita, ma'am, there's a disturbance coming from your line.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
There's some sort of airy disturbance coming from your line. I would request you to move to a better reception area.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this better?
Yes, ma'am. You may go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. Sir, could you throw some light on the increased working capital cycle for us, particularly the receivables as well as the inventory? I understand AP exposure is there in the receivables, but even excluding the held up money in the Capital City project, even the existing ongoing projects receivables have kind of gone up significantly. So your outlook there, I mean, the reason why it's gone up, and where do you see it going forward?
Now, based on the discussions that taking place, and the government considering the budget position, because COVID-19 also, though they promised earlier to pay some of the amounts, because COVID-19, the funds they wanted some other priorities. But now in the immediate future, we expect about 120 crores payment from the government relating to this AP projects. As far as Capital City projects are concerned, now there is a momentum from the government and department to complete some of the projects where 85% were completed earlier. and to take up some of the road projects which are important, minimum important. So those projects they want to carry by descoping the existing projects, for which about I believe that rupees 3,000 crores the government sanctioned to the department, and they are now tying up 3,000 crores. And the government also facilitated by giving the land to this APCRL department to use as a security for the borrowings, or some part used for sale and use that amount to complete these projects. Like the directions are happened. Now they have to mobilize the fund and pay the amount. They asked us to carry, but we asked payment, at least release some payment. We start the work. Like that, the deliberations are going on. So which shows that some positive sign to move for the movement of the works about the capital city projects where some 250 crores is held up. But rest of the projects where 500 crores is held up, they are ongoing projects. And there also in some projects some slow momentum is there. But now in the coming year, there is a more than what they given in the last year will happen. And basing on the budget now allocated on 100 to 120 crores, their plan, it is in process. We expect any time within a month that payment. So thereby some good outlook would be there for in the year 21-22 on the AP projects.
Sure. Also, if you can tell what kind of a reduction in loans and advances and reduction in investments are we looking for in FY22? And lastly, if you can give the breakup of order book in terms of segment and geography wise. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Krishna Rao, you give the division-wise order book. Tell them division-wise order book numbers, opening numbers, closing numbers. And as far as exposure is concerned to the group companies, plans are there, and roughly all companies together about 200 to 300 crores inflow would be happen from the group companies in the year 21-22. Krishna Rao, you are there, Krishna Rao? Hello?
He is not there.
Durga
Prasad, are you there?
Durga Prasad is there. Can you tell the numbers or shall I?
Yeah, very much I am available.
Okay, you tell them the division-wise order numbers.
Sure.
Division-wise opening and closing. If
Yeah.
necessary, if they ask, you also tell what the kind of orders received.
Sure. Building division opening order book is 13,241 crores, which is the 50%, and the closing order stands at 21,157 crores, that is 56%. Roads is 2,644 crores, that is 10%. The closing stands at 1,954, that is 5%. Water division opening order book 4,660 crores, 18%. Closing order book stands at 7,078, that is 19%. Electrical division, it stands at 6% opening as well closing, but the opening order book was 1,711 crores, closing was 2,438 crores. Irrigation is opening 2,054 crores, stands at 8%. Closing order book 2,442 crores, that is 6%. Mining stands at 7% opening as well closing. Opening was 1,912 crores, closing was 2,592 crores. Others stands at 1%, that is around 250 crores. That is the end of 37,911 crores closing order book. Hello?
Ms. Ankita, your question is answered.
Also, if you could provide geography wise, that was also one more thing that I had asked.
Hello?
So geography wise.
Geographical. The state-wise, you want to know the state-wise?
Yes.
Just I will repeat some of the how the. State-wise, I will tell you the state-wise order book as on date. Okay? Hello?
Okay.
I will tell you in terms of percentage so that it make easy. Uttar Pradesh, we have 25%, Andhra Pradesh 11%, Karnataka 10%, Maharashtra 10%, Telangana 7%, Jharkhand 6%, Bihar 6%, Jammu and Kashmir 3.85%, New Delhi 3.81%, Tamil Nadu 3.54%, Odisha 3.4%, Assam 1.83%, like that about 1 to 1.5%. The rest of the states like Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Sri Lanka, West Bengal, Punjab, Gujarat. So almost 22.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let us take up the next question, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parvez Akhtar Qazi from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. A couple of questions from my side. First is, if you could give us the execution figure in Q4, including if we had done any execution in the international side.
Hello, not clear.
Hi, sir. So I was asking if you could give us the total execution figure in Q4 FY21, including any work that we would have done in the
international. No, in the standalone results, the international numbers are not there. Hello?
Sure, sir. Did we do any work in the international subsidiary this quarter?
We are not doing international. International works were completed, and we taken a decision to close the Dubai and Oman the business. As a result, almost all 100% to our only rest if any 5 to 10, 13% like that will be there. So from the current year onwards, there won't be any turnover of business from the international companies. Only we have small two orders in Sri Lanka. That is very small orders, about 200 crores, 300 crores.
Okay, sir. And sir, secondly, if you could update us on the status of the SimCorp and the Tata arbitration.
SimCorp and Tata cases, the hearings are not yet over in SimCorp because of COVID-19, and the other end insisting for the personal hearings rather than the virtual hearings. As a result, they are planning for personal hearings. In the meantime, the second wave has come. The COVID second wave further impacted about meeting personally for completing the hearings. So they are again postponing the hearings. And according to the present situation, about November 21 or so, the final the hearings or final award expected time or internally they assess to get at the time.
And regarding Tata?
Taka also in the same line is there, Taka case also. And internally management and like to have some amicable settlement with the Taka, but once this COVID-19 gives some relief, and once again people try to have some amicable this one to avoid all these things.
Sure, sir. Thanks. That's it from our side and all that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ambar Singhania from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead. Mr. Singhania, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
No?
Hello?
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we are hearing you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, just wanted to know what is our total pending order book in Andhra Pradesh, and if you can give us some details of that, is how much is the ongoing orders and how much is the order stuck in the capital city.
which may require, which is currently not moving as such?
I will repeat. Now in the order book, AP, the old orders what we received earlier, now is there about 2,903 crores, in which the capital projects, whatever are there, we remove from the order book. At this moment, 0 are there. If at all they ask, again, that whatever value they give, that again will come back to the order book. And about new orders which they floated last year, some 2-3 orders we received, that is about 1,200 crores we received. So after adding this 1,200 crores new orders, that is a running projects. So the total order book now of AP is 4,171 crores, but all are categorized under running projects, not on the capital city, not on the AP TIDCO.
Okay, so there is no stuck project in the order book today.
In the order book, we have removed.
Okay, sir. And sir, what is the timeline or what is the status of this resolution with the authorities there? Where do we stand in terms of first receiving our pending due, and second, these projects may see a light of restarting? What is the status on that one?
The running projects are going on based on their budget availability. They're asking us to the extent funds are available, the progress. And about capital city projects, the movement now has come. Just already explained about 5-10 minutes back about how the things are happening and what is the outlook of the capital city project. I already explained for the earlier questions which they made, whether you are available at the time or not. This answer is over.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandpal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. My question has been answered. Hello.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinod Modi from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. Just a small question. You said 1,400 rupees, 1,400 crore rupees mobilization advances. Can you guide me what is the quantum of interest bearing amount out of this, out of 1,400?
84% represent the 16% is the interest-free advances.
Fine, got it. And last, sir, about the sequential basis, if I look at, so there has been a jump of almost 11 to 12 crore in interest cost. So just wanted to understand, is there any sort of one-off finance charges that we have incurred in this quarter 4?
Finance charges. Finance, the rate of interest. What is that your exact question?
I was asking, if I look at on absolute basis, there has been a jump of almost 11 crore on sequential basis in interest cost. So just wanted to check, is there any sort of one-off in terms of incremental finance charges?
One is the BG charges. Okay.
Hello. I will give you the bifurcation of the finance cost for the fourth quarter. Interest on term loans is about 8.6 crores. Interest on cash credits and WCDL is 38.28 crores. Interest on mobilized advance is 30.08 crores. Interest on other loans is about 5.29 crores. That is as far as the interest cost is concerned. That is total 82.25 crores. It includes interest on mobilized advance also, which is 30.08 crores. Now, BG commission is 28.92 crores. LC commission is 4.65 crores. And the other bank charges like processing charges, upfront fees, etc. is 1.89 crores. So the total finance cost for the fourth quarter is 117.71 crores. But if you look at the and the finance cost is less by about 2 crores as compared to the fourth quarter of the previous year. If you look at the annual number, there is a substantial decrease in the finance cost. Last year, that is FY20, the total finance cost is 517.87 crores, whereas in current year, that is FY21, it is 457.78 crores. We were able to achieve substantial improvement in pricing, mainly based on our rating, mainly based on our conduct of accounts. The consortium banks have brought down the interest rates in line with the policy rate reduction given by the Reserve Bank of India. That has helped us to save in finance costs substantially in the current year.
Got it. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, as per the question earlier speaker, sir, in absolute terms, there has been a good savings in the finance cost. So, sir, going forward on the total, on the entire turnover, sir, what percentage are we emphasizing that finance cost will be attributable for the next financial year, sir? Any ballpark we have worked out?
Ballpark. We have 4.5% of the turnover of the company.
Okay, and what was this figure for this year, sir?
Similar,
Yeah.
more or less similar.
This year, this is okay.
A further reduction may be possible based on 3-4 factors. One is if any policy rate reduction is there, that could be passed on to us by our consortium banks. Another thing is we are also looking at a possible rating upgrade. If that happens again, the finance cost can come down. We already represented with a number of banks in the consortium for reduction in the BG commission and LP commission. Some degree of reduction we have already achieved. Some more banks are also likely to fall in line and reduce the BG commission. So we are confident the finance cost should be in the range of 4.5 to 5% of the turnover in FY22.
Sir, and what is the blended cost of funds for this year?
The blended cost of funds, I'm talking about the interest cost. Again, that depends on utilization, and also we have got this facility of sweeping with 3 banks, that is SBI, Canara Bank and ICICI Bank, where the current account balances are swept into the main CC account on a daily basis, and that will reduce the outstanding debt at the end of the day. Approximately about 100 crores is coming into these CC accounts of all the 3 banks put together on a daily basis. So we are able to substantially reduce the interest burden there. And also, because we have a comfortable liquidity position, in some banks where the interest rate is high, we are not utilizing those limits. So the blended cost of borrowing, as far as the interest cost is concerned, we are talking of the cash credit and the working capital loans they have given, WCL loans they call it. It should be around 8.8 to 9%.
Right. And lastly, sir, on this geographical mix of the order booking, it is largely skewed towards the Uttar Pradesh, sir. So, sir, how, since Uttar Pradesh would be in the assembly elections next year, so are we emphasizing an increase in the execution cycle, sir, for going forward? What is the executable period of the orders that we are executing in the state of Uttar Pradesh, sir? And how is the payment terms and cycle?
The order book in UP has gone up to 25% of the total order book, mainly because of a big order of 6,200 crores we have received in the month of December pertaining to Jal Jeevan projects of the particular state. That's why it has gone up to 25%. I don't think it is skewed. In fact, earlier we had a large order stake in Andhra Pradesh. Before that, we had a large exposure in Telangana. So it keeps on varying from state to state depending upon the opportunities. Now, Maharashtra also got large projects, mainly because of the Nagpur-Mumbai expressway that we are doing, and also some metro projects we are doing in Pune, and some projects in Nagpur, and some projects in Mumbai. So we are a company with all India exposure. We operate in almost 27, 28 states of the country. wherever opportunities are there, we have got a decentralized structure of bidding for projects. We are able to back those projects. So I don't think it is skewed. In fact, company has got a robust risk mitigation policy, and we are seeing that exposure per state will not increase a certain level.
So, and the payment cycle and the execution period for the 6,000 crore big order, Jal Jeevan order which we have got, what is the executable period? By when are we going to execute the project? Hello? Sir, hello? Hello?
So just give me a minute. Let me check.
Yes, ma'am.
The line for Mr. Murthy is disconnected. Kindly stay on line till I reconnect him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the management line reconnected to the call. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
sorry, I got disconnected. I do not know where I got disconnected. Can you tell me? Any other question is there?
Yes, sir. I was looking for the executable period. By when will we able to execute this Jal Jeevan order of 6,000 crore? Have the execution started, and is COVID affecting the effect? Is COVID being any hindrance to the execution, sir?
No, that is yet to be assessed. In fact, the project execution has not started. We have to make a survey district-wise, and and then submit our project report to the state agency. After they approve it, we start the work, and that will be done over a period of 18 months. And then after the approval, the project will be completed over a period of 30 months. We are aware UP government is going for election next year, and in fact, earlier also similar projects we have executed in Telangana. We don't think there is going to be any difficulty in terms of providing funds for execution of these projects.
Right, sir. And for the net margin, sir, you will be giving the margin ballpark in the post the first quarter numbers only, sir, as in the earlier commentary, you have not been able to allude to the turnover and the margin guidance. So post the Q1, so Q1, can we see any bit of lag effect in execution because of the COVID factor, or is it different than, since it is different than what it was in the first wave? So
COVID impact was there in the first quarter of last year also, and COVID impact is there in the first quarter of this year also. Only difference being, in the month of April last year, they have completely locked down everything, including the highways. And also, there is a direction by the clients to the construction companies to stop work at project sites, because all commercial activity was brought to a standstill in the month of April last year. But similar thing is not there this year. Work is continuing. Nobody told us to stop the work. The supply chain is also intact because highways are not closed, and the workers are also available at the project sites, barring a few cases of COVID-19 impact at the project site. I don't think the disruption in current year will be as severe as last year. So we are confident in FY22 first quarter. Again, one more month is yet to be completed in the first quarter. We are very confident that the turnovers in first quarter FY22 will be better than the first quarter numbers of FY21.
Okay, but the pace will be slower. What will be exited the March quarter, that pace would be...
that is agreed. Yeah, obviously.
Sustain will be there. Murthy garu.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for...
Last two questions and get the better.
Yeah. Now we'll come to the end of the conference. Already is 1 hour and 15 minutes we have been talking. We'll take the last two questions and then close it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Shankar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I just have one question. For the previous financial year, we had an order inflow of around 19,000 crores. So I just want to know if there is any guidance on the order inflow.
Mr. Shankar, sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Your voice is breaking and we are...
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, you know better. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. For the last financial year, we had an order inflow of about 19,000 crores roughly. So I just want to check if you can give us a guidance on the order inflow for the current financial year as well.
Yeah, this was discussed by the top management, and we have thought because of the very fluid situation, because of this pandemic COVID-2 currently raging across the country, we have decided not to give any guidance as far as top line is concerned, as far as order booking is concerned. But we will review it by the end of the first quarter and accordingly come back to you with our guidance.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
This will be the last question.
Sir, this was the last question. So I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Mohit Kumar, are you there? You want to? Now we come to the end of the conference, and I thank all the participants for their enthusiastic participation, and also thank DAM Capital and Mohit Kumar and his team for hosting this conference. And if any of the participants who are not able to ask their questions, they can send us an email or they can call us, either me or my colleague Mr. Durga Prasad, and we will be glad to answer your questions. So with this thing, I thank everyone, including my colleagues who participated in this conference call, and I hand over the mic to the management to offer DAM Capital.
Sir, Mr. Mohit Kumar, he is disconnected the call, sir.
Okay. Then let us close it. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. On behalf of DAM Capital Advisors Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Yes. Thank you.